All right, you should be able to hear me now. Oh man, I don't understand. I think I know why it reset. It's because I wiped all my cookies and everything. The audio should be good now. I just realized that my settings were changed to my default, and now they're back to where they're supposed to be. So can you guys confirm that in the chat? Oh man. Ah, I'm just gonna double check that myself just to be sure. Bum. Audio should be working now. Can you guys confirm in the chat just to be sure? Okay, perfect. So it looks like we're back in action. Sorry, folks. I ended up doing some maintenance on my computer. Some of that involved wiping out the caching cookies, and that just reset all the like selections and settings I've done. So it defaulted to my headphones for my microphone as opposed to the what's it called? The other microphone that I'm using for streaming. So, all right, let's go ahead and run through some of these a little bit quicker because we lost a bit of time there with that. So, similar scenario with CL, we had a setup, ended up being a time stop. We were looking to short it, ended up triggering in the session, I believe, and ended up doing a time stop as well. Also looked like it's a small loss as well on that one. And again, nothing too concerning. But what I was saying earlier is I used to track a lot of these time stops, right? And just the way human psychology works is I track it because I wanted to prove it wrong, right? I wanted to prove that the time stop actually is making me lose money instead of actually protecting me. Well, it's always fun trying to prove something, but it proves you wrong. So I would track it over a period of time. For example, if I would take the time stop, right? But then in my log, I would track what would have happened had I not done that. And interestingly enough, right, we always remember when we lose money, leave money on the table because it prevented a T1 and maybe a T2, but it also prevented full stop losses in many cases. And so ultimately, once that it came down to the statistics of it, the time stop was actually saving capital, not leaving money on the table. So when you do an overall, couple months of analysis of what's actually happening, then you can kind of, with a certain degree of, um, with a certain degree of reliability of your data, you can say, okay, yeah, this is actually still working. Let's not touch it. Okay, not sure what's going on with this. That's what that was. Okay, I was like, what is happening here? Um, okay, so we're looking to go through some of the other trades. So we had the 50 last time. We had quite a few trades last time. We had the ES. We were looking to go long. ES ended up stopping out. It was in profit, almost reached T1, and then ultimately ended up stopping out fully. And that was within the time stop range. So that one was, again, just came in. went our way for a little bit, and then went the other way very quickly. GC, we had a similar situation where we were looking to go long, and also it ended up being a time stop as well, very close to. Um, we bought at 34.9. We got out, looks like at 34.4. So again, nothing crazy, nothing to, um, I guess, discuss anything further about. It was a time stop. We executed to the plans, to the T, and that's how we got to go about it every time. All right. Now, of course, something that I almost ended up doing here, just a quick tip here. If you want to avoid trading the wrong futures contract, definitely I would say one of the websites that I use is barchart.com. So bar chart right here gives you the most active. So you just go to futures, and then most active futures. And then that takes you to this page. You can look at the full list or whatever you're trading, right? If you're only looking at the indexes, you'll see that we're on December. Livestock metals for gold, energies for crude oil and natural gas if you're trading that. So that's just a quick little advice there in case you are confused as to why your data is not loading like it was for me. All right. So let's take a look at and see what is in front of us with the markets today. And I just want to, and it is. Okay, perfect. All right. So first things first, right? What's the first thing we always look at when it comes to some of the veterans already know in the chat. If you want to type it in the chat, feel free to do so. But some of the, we trade a permission-based system, so we need to have permission to do things. It may seem silly and it may seem a little, weird. Like, what do you mean? I need permission from who? Well, you need permission from yourself. And believe me when I tell you, you giving instructions and permissions and information to yourself is probably some of the hardest stuff that you'll be doing in your life. All right. So you need to have a system in front of you that no matter what is happening, you know that you're giving yourself permissions or you're receiving information in a very, very straightforward, um, analytical way, right? So, and the way we do that with our trading system is the number one place our eyes go to is over here, right? This chart down below. All right. And that's our AutoClimate chart, right? If you're not trading futures with me today, maybe you're trading Forex or crypto, that'll be this bottom chart down here, right? That's this one right here. It's giving us the AutoClimate down below. So why do we need to look at that way? I would say 9 out of 10 times, people could have the best system, the best risk management, but they don't have the best discipline when it comes to trading. And if you have two out of those three, and one of those is not the discipline, there's a very good chance that you will not find success in trading. Okay, so we need to be disciplined. And how do we get disciplined? Well, there's very many different ways to skin that cat, but one way that I found to be extremely helpful to me is trading with the permission-based system. And that trading-based permission-based system is by utilizing, steps that tell me, okay, I can look elsewhere. Right now, my eyes are only focused down here. Okay. And right now, my eyes are saying, okay, skip. Why is it saying skip? Well, a couple of things, right? AutoClimate gives us the overall directionality of the market. We see right here that in AutoClimate, we have 20 15-minute increments that this market has been going up for. All right. That it's been a while since we've seen numbers like this. I'll be very honest with you. Standard deviation up, which means typically this market goes up for 6 15-minute increments. That means this market is not only double, it's not only triple, it's more than triple the amount of candles that it goes up for compared to what it typically does, which means the odds are not there, which means look elsewhere. All right. Analysis done, right? It's that powerful. I mean, if you don't like that, then, I don't know what to tell you. So if we go to the NASDAQ now, it's probably going to be a very similar scenario. Okay, not quite similar. So as you see, on the NASDAQ, we still have an up climate. We are currently on the seventh one out of typically four. All right, so we're past the most sensible point, but after this market opens, it's going to be double, which means it is definitely, probabilities are almost against us at that point. All right, so even though this market could still keep going up, right, the market will keep doing what it does, regardless of who's analyzing it or what they're saying about it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and skip on that. Let's take a look at CL. All right, CL, crude oil, looks like it is not past its point of no return. I'm kidding. It looks like it is in a sensible climate. It is the third one out of typically five. As you see, the third one out of typically five. We know it is a confirmed down climate, right? This is a down climate, or since it's a ruby colored climate, which means we're looking for downward momentum. We're on the third 50-minute increment out of five. Okay, so that means we still have a potential chance to get in this trade. What's the next step though, right? That was step number one. We have permission to start looking for setups. From an immediate glance point, right? We do not have a setup. Why don't we have a setup? Well, because we rely on another indicator, which is the auto UFOs, the flying saucers that you see, like the one up here. Okay, we rely on those for our entry, but because we're not the only traders in this market, we are actually one of millions of people who are looking at these markets and trading, whether it's through automation or manually, whatever the case may be, or even if it's a um, institutional desk traders, whatever the case may be, we're all looking at the same price movement, but we're not analyzing it the same way, right? So we need to combine two elements of that. So around the world, everybody's looking at, price movement, but they all have different indicators, different instruments giving them information. We have the auto UFOs giving us information. However, we also want to know what the rest of the market is looking at. Okay, and the rest of the market is also potentially looking at a common indicator like the gold line we have here, which is the 9 exponential moving average. That's this one right here, a 9 EMA, which is also conveniently charted on the rest of these charts. That gold line represents the 9 EMA. Now, not every platform can do this. NinjaTrader is pretty cool that it can do that, which I love specifically just because I'm a very visual type of person. But ultimately, we see that we do not have a red UFO anywhere where this 9 EMA is. Now, we're seeing some movement down. A UFO could potentially show up at any one of these locations. But we need to wait for the chart to print some more candles to see some more volume come in so we can see some movement, especially on the tick and the volume. Charts, which of course the minute charts can't do that. That's just time based. These are more movement and volume based. All right. I've been talking for quite some time. I think if there's any new folks here, please type it in the chat. I'm more than able to repeat what I just said much slower, or even take a little bit more time. But if there's some folks who've been with us for several sessions, let me know as well. so that I know, at what speed I should do the rest of the session. Because what I typically like to do is I kind of split it up because it just works better in my mind that way. In the beginning, we review trades, then we review the method of trading, how we're going to trade, what's in front of us. And then afterwards, we go into trade mode, right? The first trade will probably take maybe a little bit slower, but after that, we're just going to start executing left and right, whatever the market throws at us. Because ultimately, that's what we need to be. That's the speed and level that we need to be at when we're trading a live market environment. So I'm trying to emulate that as we go along. While I wait, I'm just gonna look at the euro and see if we potentially have anything going on there. Okay, looks like it's actually fallen down to the 9 EMA on a positive, on an up climate. Unfortunately, though, right at the area where the 9 EMA is right now, there is nothing to trade with. So if that's the case, we may need to switch to Forex and crypto just because it looks like everything is a little bit at a standstill, right? And that happens. That's why we have an arsenal of instruments that we trade. For example, last time when we were in the session, we took, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 setups last time we were trading. So there are sessions where we'll have 1 or 2, and that's okay because I would say 90% of trading is patience, and patience pays. You don't want to be rushing trades, or you don't want to be just getting into the market just because, hey, I'm spending my time, I'm in front of my computer, I haven't made a dime. Well, would you feel better or worse if you lost money when you rushed the trade where you're not supposed to, right? And if the answer is I would feel better, then please go see someone about that. But if the obvious answer is no, I would feel worse, then maybe don't rush trades. So we have about 6 minutes till the market opens. I really love it when I'm in a trade before the market opens and I've got my T1. That's my ideal scenario, but a lot of times the market doesn't give you what you want; it gives you what it will give you. So that's just how it works. It's nothing about it that we can control. Before the market opens, I'm just going to go ahead and show if you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to discuss. Feel free to go to tradewithufos.com/Boyan. You can ask questions there. Have any comments? Feel free to go there. It's a fairly easy access to the website where you can just type anything that's on your mind, even if it's something along the lines of, hey, what the hell, we were doing this and then now we're doing that, and what happened here? And we'll definitely get that taken care of. All right. Let's go back to the ES and see. Okay, it's not supposed to be hitting me this one. All right. Yeah, the ES seems to be coming down a little bit. Not at any tremendous speed or anything, but there's a very good likelihood that this will remain an up climate, which means we could not trade this. Let's take a look at the Dow and see what the Dow's got up for us. YM. Oh, similar scenario, except even more. 33 out of 6. Okay, so nothing to do there. Let's take a look at the Russell. Very similar scenario, except the Russell may actually be The one that's the weakest right now, just because, as you see, it's very close to the 9 EMA. Market's opening in 3 minutes. If this pushes down and closes lower, right, and this is kind of a little bit not fortune telling, but let's say price moves down kind of rapidly from here, right? It falls down. We could get a new ruby thick dot, and at the same time, with that movement, we could see UFOs pop up on any one of these three time frames, which would give us a setup, an entry. Again, that's just anticipation of what could happen. Just because we're seeing a little bit of weakness kick in. Meanwhile, none of the other three indexes are close to their 9 EMA. And hide this. How's it going so far, guys? Let me know in the chat box. Even if it's, if it's going good, say good. If it's not going good, say not good. And as we're getting ready to get started with our trading here in about 2 minutes. Let's see if the Russell is going to give us anything. And I'm just going to go check this out here. All right, minute and a half. Let's see what's going on. In the meantime, I'm just looking at some of the other markets here, maybe some of Forex stuff, and just to see what's happening with it. Just in case we get nothing here. Because it's as much fun as it is to talk about the markets, it's sometimes a little bit more fun to trade them. All right, all good. Thank you, Joe. All right, I think this will definitely, potentially, definitely, there's nothing definite, but this, I think this will either be an unconfirmed climate or potentially a down climate. And that's why I'm just going to leave this here for a few more seconds to see if we get something. All right, it's not confirmed. Man, I was like, look at this beautiful UFO, and then it's another big one down here on the 15-minute, but the climate is not confirmed. We're seeing some action already taking place. If you took that immediately, you would have been stopped out because this already wicked out, which means that now this UFO will disappear. And that's kind of the expectation and volatility of the open. It's nothing unheard of. But let's see what is happening. I want to check out and see. Let me look at the analyzer here. Yeah, so the AutoClimate is still counting up on the ES, on the Dow, and on the NASDAQ. The Russell is, 1 out of 7, which is early, but this is still not confirmed. We need a confirmed down climate to take this. Unfortunately, the software did not detect that this is a confirmed climate, right? If you took it once, then you probably got stopped out. But if we can take it here at this 1853.2, which would be a fill right now, that would have been the best, as it seems like the Russell has some weakness to it, but we do not have a confirmed down climate. And that's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes you have to be patient. You have to be patient. You can't say, well, I'm pretty sure this is going to go down. Oh, that may be the case. You can be as sure as you want to, but where are you gonna pull the brakes and say, okay, I'm gonna follow my plan versus I'm gonna follow my gut? Okay, how are you gonna quantify that over a period of 6 months? Are you going to trade two different setups? Are you going to say, okay, these are my gut trades and these are my, auto UFOs and systematic trades, right? And look at that, the gut's wrong, right? So patience pays. All right. In the meantime, looks like crude oil is moving up, opposite of what the Russell is doing. And if we get a green up climate, which again, this could happen mid candle. There it is. It just happened. And here's our first trade right here. 89.68 is our buy limit. Okay. So that's our first setup for the day. It's at 89.68. It already went through this UFO. So our final target, our T2, is going to be all the way up here in 90.13. All right. I was expecting it to react from these highs up here, but I guess not. Let's see. Yeah, we might have missed the boat. All right. I'm going to take a screenshot of this just so we can have it. That's our first setup. 2023 0920 CL 50-minute setup. All right. Setup still valid. It's just the price has to go way down. All right. In the meantime, because that just has a long time to travel, let's take a look at gold, which is almost picture identical to what crude just did. That's very interesting, right? You guys saw that? Literally the same exact picture, which is kind of crazy. But very similar scenario with gold. We have a setup here at around the 1950s, 1940s, 1954, 1950, 1952. So this area here that we're looking at, although gold is moving the same kind of way. So I'm looking at and this is the reason why I'm looking at this market analyzer. It's basically telling me that even though this is in a late, as you see, it's half a deviation below the moving average, which this could mean a change in the climate. All right, so I'm just looking out for that to see if anything changes here. That gives us kind of a better picture. Okay, the euro, nothing to do here. As you see, the moving average is up there now. In about 9 minutes and about 10 minutes from now, this UFO will most likely be valid because, of course, the moving average moves, right? So as the moving average is here right now, once this candle closes, the moving average is going to recalculate and be a little bit higher, as long as we're trading higher, of course. So we could potentially see a move on a trade on the euro as time is passing, but as of right now, we don't have anything. And the euro would be on this one here. So even though we have nothing as far as there, looking at the analyzer here. What is the Russell doing? It's just kind of dilly-dallying, a little movement to nowhere. It's back at the EMA. And you see that that's quite different from what we're seeing, for example, on the ES. Right, we're seeing down movement, up movement, and interestingly enough, it is currently trading at a moving average. So it fell below, which is why we had that sideways action telling us we could see a potential. But now, as you see, they're trading near the EMA. So we might just see an unconfirmed climate as opposed to a confirmed down climate. So just kind of making everybody aware. Crude is still half a standard deviation up. What I don't like about what we're gonna be seeing now is this moving average is gonna go up, which could mean that our trade is gonna be invalidated. And that's gonna really be, obviously a factor that we have to adjust to. Gold is just flying on up. 2.5 deviations away from the moving average. So gold just exploded on out of there. Yeah. Okay, it looks like the Russell ended up moving upward ultimately. Technically we had a break in the climate here. We have an unconfirmed climate here right now, and this is trading on up. It's going to invalidate this 15-minute UFO. So in about 5 minutes from now, we could see an up climate reconfirmation, and we could potentially take a trade on this 1854.3 area, which is enveloped also in this area on the 2-minute on the time-based chart. And I'm sorry, that's wrong. For the Russell, we need to be using this one. So the only UFO will be the time-based one. There's a reason why these are labeled the way they're labeled. They're different equivalencies between the instruments and how they correspond to the 15-minute time frame. So, which is why the ES has the 5097 tick, the NQ is at 610, Crude and GC are at 377, and the YM, Euro, and Russell are at the 244 tick. So we always have to be very careful when utilizing these here. Make sure they correspond to the instrument we're using, right? Okay, 4 minutes till we get anything. The ES and NQ are both trading near the EMA. So we may see a reconfirmation to the climate, or we may see another unconfirmed climate. Our 50-minute setup on crude down at 89.68 is still active, at least for the next 3 minutes. But there's a very good chance that that will no longer be valid once the moving average recalculates. We'll see by how much. I mean, it's moved up a bit, so I'm expecting the moving average to be somewhere around this, like 89, 70 area once it recalculates. But a lot can happen in 3 minutes. As far as news for the day, I typically look at the fxstreet.com economic calendar, just because that's what we've been using. So, interest rate decision is happening soon. And again, this is reset just because I am, I reset my browser settings, but the rate decision at 11, that's definitely going to move some stuff around. And then the interest rate projections are also going to be impactful as well. But ultimately, it's going to be the if there will be a rate hike. And then, of course, crude oil stocks change. This also moves crude oil quite a bit on days that are reports. Okay, looks like crude is reconfirming its upward climate. I'm gonna be fairly certain that this will not trigger anymore. It could be in this upper UFO here, right as we're touching on this 15-minute time frame up top. But let's see, we got about a minute until the 9 EMA recalculates. It's most likely going to be in this green UFO. This is a valid trade with this UFO. It's just it's a very wide UFO, so not exactly the best of setups. And according to our rules, since this for T2, we always use the larger time frame opposing UFO, which in this scenario is this one here. Since this UFO has been touched, we technically go to the next one above. So 9064 will be T2 now. And if this moving average recalculates in this UFO, we'll take it. We'll just move our, if you want to be more aggressive, just so we can get in a trade, 9011 is going to be, man, but this is just, I'm not going to go for this. Just because, look at that, the moving average is barely touching this UFO, folks. And, trading around the moving average is kind of like that, right? It goes to extremes, pulls back to it, goes to extreme. It's how it always goes. In this scenario, it is just not a valid setup. So we're going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this, and we're going to say that this is canceled. So 2023, 1930, 20, CL 15-minute canceled. All right. Wow, the Russell is 2.5 deviations up from where it was. And, kind of like how we were expecting, we just didn't quite get, there was a lot of back and forth here in the beginning until ultimately the direction was to the upside. And we see we have a confirmed climate now, but, it's 2.5 deviations away. The spread is just too far away. Yeah, man, it's a bit of a slow day today, isn't it? Let's see what we got on the other side of the market. Not much to be done, not much else to be done when it comes to the futures because, I mean, just look at this, right? 1, 3.5, 1.5, 2.5. This one is near the EMA, but it's the 35th up out of 6, right? So we're late. This one's half, but we're still late. This one's 0.3, but we're late. So we literally have nothing to do for the next 15 minutes. You know, unless somehow like something magically drops down, which you can keep an eye on at another screen. But let's see if we can maybe get some crypto trades. Maybe we can get something executed on, which interestingly enough is moving a little bit sideways now. Currently on the 4th down candle out of typically 6, but we do not really have any offense right now. It's trading above the moving average, which you see the moving average at 270 at 270.95, and price is currently at 271.31, so that's automatically invalidated. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Okay, this is very close to touching. Man, it's just a couple of dollars above. Moving average at 31.09. This UFO starts at 33.97, 79. So it's just a couple bucks away. Unfortunately, cannot be taken. Unconfirmed there. Overextended there. 4th out of 5 here, trading above the moving average. Going off to the next one. Extended. Can't really do anything. See anything that's falling harder or less than Bitcoin is what I'm really looking at. Unconfirmed, overextended, unconfirmed. Man, last week it was like trade after trade after trade after trade. This week it's just no, 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 no. All right, let's go to Forex and take a look and see what we got. Oof, that's a nice move on the dollar yen to the downside. Currently on the second one because it's counting this one, but we don't count that one just because it's an unconfirmed climate. So this is technically the second one out of typically 6. So 6 hours that it goes down for typically. Currently on the second one, it's already moved a fair amount away. So let's take a look at USD CHF. Dollar CAD. Okay. Pound dollar moving the other way. Is there any news that we need to be aware of? Nothing out of the ordinary on news other than, you know, they had a speech, but that's for the European Union, for the Euro. Looking at this at 237.77, that's within this UFO here. So if this falls down, do we anticipate getting a trade triggered up here? Why the UFO? Oh, there it is. I was like, why are they not drawing up? We do see a potential trade on this one at this UFO here, which is the 237.60 to 235.97. If price does fall down, do we see it coming down and staying within here? I would say yes, absolutely. So let's go ahead and set that up as well. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, now what's happening here? I know that they changed some of the interface, but I'm still able to put charts here. I mean, do chart trading. So we're gonna go ahead and buy 1,237.60, and let me just pull up the handy dandy. It's always good to have it in front of you, just because it's not a the Forex rounding, because Forex again is decentralized, so you have to, you kind of have to cater to the fact that this is traded on multiple different brokers, and liquidity providers have a little bit of variation. So, for example, what we have here for Wanda, somebody else might have something else on FX Book, or Longhorn, Envy, I don't know, any one of those different brokers could have a slight variation, but the overall movement is going to be in the same way. So, so we always add 2 pips from our entry. So right now our entry is at 237.60, right? This is our entry right here. Our stop is going to be below this UFO here, 23,597. So let's go ahead and write out the stop, which is 1.23597. Of course, we always round down. So this is going to be at 9. And then we add 5 pips for the stop. So this will really be 4 right there. So 24 pips is our stop, 24 pips are T1. We're gonna risk 150 bucks, let's say. Now this is the one thing I like about TradingView, is that it lets you set the time and force up until what time in a very easy and convenient way. And that's really powerful, because we do have validity times for this climate, which right now we see that we're currently on the first one, as we said, out of typically 7. So that means we have 6 more hours for this trade to be valid. So we can actually input that right here. So 9:20. So 6:52 currently. Let's round it off to 7 plus 6 hours. That's 1300. Of course, 1 p.m. My time. So we're going to go ahead and buy that. And there it is. And now for our final target, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to buy at 1.2378. Take stop loss stays the same at 235.40. Okay, but our final target is going to be 1.24796, right? That's the opposing UFO up here. 24796. All right, but similarly, because of Forex being decentralized, we're gonna round this down, and we're gonna take away 2 pips. And same thing, 150. Buy that as well, and there's our trade setup. Just to be a little bit more visual, just because TradingView still does not have the capacity, the capability to do a 2-legged trade, which is rather unfortunate. I like to also draw out when I'm entering in the trade. So basically, what's the entry? What's the stop? So our entry price is 237.80. Our stop is, our first profit level is at 1.2402. Our stop is at same thing, 240 ticks away. All right, so that's our T1, right? And now I'm just gonna copy this with control and mimic the same thing. So 23780 is our entry price. Yeah, I think it's because I touched this first. 1.24770. Stop is at 1.23540. And our entry price is at 1.2378. All right. Should be 240. Why is it not? There we go. And this was 99 ticks, so we're good to go. And hit OK. So now we have set up so we can visually see it. And for example, the thing that when it comes to TradingView, they you're able to see like as the bars go in. So for example, if you did hit T1 when you're executing this on your execution platform, you'll know that you should take half the position off at this point. Right? I mean, if you're executing with an MT4 platform, this is fairly easy to do. You don't have to do this. But if you're executing through TradingView, it's very important to understand that you have to manually close that T1. All right. So that's that for this one. Let's take a picture of it so we remember it for next time. 230920. And we're taking GBP USD, and this is the 1 hour setup. Boom. All right, folks, we're at the top of the hour. Didn't really leave a whole bunch of room for questions, but I feel like, if there were any, you probably would have asked them by now. If there is, please let me know. I would be more than glad to answer them. If there aren't any questions, that's good. If there are, as I said, feel free to ask them. If you think of a question and we're done with the session, you can always go to tradewithufos.com/Boyan to ask the questions there and to be able to get them answered. Just because we can only do so much in a 1 hour trade session, right? All right. Hey, Mark, thanks for coming along. Slow day today, but then again, we have those every once in a while, and that's okay. Not a whole bunch of action going on, but again, we did what we could with the day that was given to us. All righty, folks. Thank you again for joining me today. I hope you have a good rest of the week, and don't be a stranger. Say hi. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.